On Social Studies 9. How's everybody doing? Hopefully this video actually works this time. This is the second time I did this. The sound didn't work last time, so that was really awesome. Welcome to April 20th. What we're going to do today is we're going to start Chapter 3. Chapter 3 addresses individual rights and freedoms, and specifically how does the Charter of Canada protect those rights and freedoms. Now before we start today, what you need is you need to take this video that you have right now, you need to split in half the screen. You want to have your notes on the other half of the screen that I put up in the Google Classroom, and then right in front of you, you need to have your textbook. All right, so let's go. Oh, I should start from the beginning. So again, how does the Charter protect the individual rights and freedoms of Canadians? So again, we're going to inspect the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We're going to explore specific cases of how the Charter has protected some individuals. We're going to talk about the history of Canada and how that has been part of our current Charter of Rights and Freedoms, how that's affected it, which I love. I love Canadian history. I think it's great. And then we're going to talk about how the Charter affects individuals, how it affects the workplace, maybe some powers that the government has. Lots of really cool stuff, okay? And then we're going to try and gain an understanding of what kind of rights we have and why we have them. Now, what I want you to do right now is I need you to pause this video, and at the very bottom right here where it's all underlined in yellow, that's a hyperlink to a 9-minute video. It's just kind of an overview of the chapter. It's by another Alberta high school social studies teacher, and she just covers the entire chapter. So just kind of give that in 9 minutes, right? It's 9 minutes that you won't regret. It kind of gives you an overview. So give you the whole chapter, the whole idea of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and then we'll come back and we'll add layers to it, okay? So pause it. I'll wait. Welcome back. Okay? You guys hopefully watched that video. Let's keep going. So what is the Charter of Rights and Freedoms? It's part of Canada's Constitution, and the Constitution is a framework for how Canada's to be governed. It's laid out. It shows us this is how Canada's government works, right? It gives a layout of how everything's supposed to be done. The Constitution is the highest law in Canada. All other laws must be consistent with it. So if anybody, Spruce Grove, Edmonton, Alberta, if anybody in Canada makes a law, that law has to be consistent with the Constitution. If it's not, Canadians can challenge those laws in courts because obviously they believe those laws are restricting their rights. And that would mean the judicial branch of Canada, remember there are 3 branches of government, I believe you guys have already talked about this, the judicial branch will make decisions about these challenges by interpreting how they apply to the Charter. So an example right now that's happening in Canada is there are a number of Charter challenges in Quebec because the provincial government of Quebec has laws forth saying that if you work for the government, you cannot wear certain clothing, okay? You cannot wear religious articles or anything like that. Now what that does is that restricts who can have those jobs. So a number of people have put forth Charter challenges saying that it is against their rights and freedoms, right? How is it okay for you to wear a cross around your neck but not have a hijab, right? That's the argument. So that's going through right now. So that's an example of a Charter challenge, right? You can't make laws if it restricts people's individual rights. The Charter also gives the Canadian government the right to restrict rights if those restrictions are necessary to maintain Canada as a free and democratic society. We are seeing that right now, actually, with the COVID crisis. Both the provincial and the federal government have put forth, have enacted some things that give them a little more power than they normally would have to try and protect our free and democratic society. But some really cool things that have happened in Canadian history. Something called the War Measures Act. It has been enacted twice in Canadian history. First time was during World War II, 1 or 2, I'm pretty sure 2, can't remember, to be honest with you, where the Canadian government enacted the War Measures Act, and basically what that did is it gave them the power to draft you into the army, to send you overseas to fight. The second time the War Measures Act was enacted was something called the October Crisis of 1970, otherwise known as the FLQ Crisis. What this was is there were a number of terrorist attacks in Montreal. A terrorist group called the FLQ was kidnapping foreign and federal diplomats and holding them for hostage, and they were setting off bombs in Montreal. And the Prime Minister at the time, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, the father of our current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, enacted the War Measures Act. It gave him powers. He was able to bring in the army. He was able to arrest people without cause. And basically what it did is it allowed him to to do what he had to do to try and end the crisis and get the people that were kidnapped back. There's a little link here on the bottom, the October Crisis of 1970. It's a 5-minute video. It's fantastic. It's an old one from the CBC, so give that a go. Okay, pause this video, go watch that, come back. Welcome back. Last slide today. So we've been talking about the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and specifically your individual rights. Okay, now if you read through pages 97 and 98, that will list your individual rights, right? So it kind of gives you an idea, like your democratic rights, your mobility rights, etc., etc. Read through that. Okay. Now there's a worksheet on the Google Classroom. It's called Your Rights and Freedoms and the Responsibilities that Come with It. Essentially, what I'm asking you to figure out is if you're guaranteed certain rights and freedoms, what responsibilities come with having those rights and freedoms. So, for example, you under the Charter, we are guaranteed an election, right? So you have the right and freedom to vote, to have an election. It's your responsibility to vote in those elections, right? Any right and freedom comes with responsibilities, okay? So there's a worksheet on there. You're not going to find the answers in the textbook. You're probably going to have to do some thinking and some reading, come up with your own answers. And then tomorrow we will meet as a group on Google Meet at 1 o'clock, and we'll go over all that stuff, okay? Again, you can always reach me on the Google Classroom if you need me. Watch those videos that I just gave you. Watch this video, and then work on that sheet, and we will talk tomorrow. Stay safe.